Well, g'day guys, and welcome back to episode 6 of the LS Patrol build. Things are coming along very nicely. If you saw in episode 5, I've picked up the L98, which I'm very excited about. But in the meantime, I've also stumbled across a few more bits and pieces, so I thought I might use this video to kind of bring the whole build up to speed with where we're up to, what I'm thinking, where we're heading. Yeah, very excited. Want to say a massive shout out to all the new subscribers and people that are jumping on this build and kind of reaching out and messaging and stuff like that. Really appreciate that, guys. Feel free to drop a comment below, say g'day. Very excited. So I've got everything set up, kind of sitting there at the moment. You probably won't be able to see much, but I just thought I'd bring you into the back shed where we've had a few more bits and pieces going on. Bring a little bit of light to the scenario, mate. This is the shed, which is a total pigsty at the moment, but we'll get there. At the moment, I've got my little AKA the junkie room where I'm housing all my bits and pieces. So not only have we picked up the motor, which is sitting right there. Let me try to get this light working for you. Oh, buddy. Hey, mate. We've picked up the motor, which is awesome. It's sitting on the stand, and I've been just grabbing WD-40 and spraying all the little nuts and bolts and all over this motor. So when I come to take it apart, it should be a whole bunch easier. This is the kind of pile of extras that I got with the gearbox, which we're going to go through soon. And then this is the leftover stuff that I picked up when I picked the motor up and when I pulled it out, ECU and a whole bunch of other things like that. But also another massive piece to the puzzle, 6L80E transmission out of a similar model Commodore and was bolted up to an L98. So everything should kind of talk and be happy there. We need to go through this pile and find out what's double up of what I've already got, and then we can kind of sell the rest. I got a whole nother manifold, and we'll go through this big pile later. I cruised out and picked this up a few weeks back. Yeah, let's roll that stuff now. You boy. Today we are picking up a gearbox, finally. So last episode we picked up the engine, which is really awesome. But as I said in that, there was no gearbox and a few other things missing, like the gearbox shroud inside in the cab. And I've had my eyes open for something like that. Stumbled across a purchase online. Really? That's what you want me to throw? Bizarre. Waiting at the Chindera servo. It's coming across the border. So managed to find someone within the Brisbane Tweed bubble that could shoot through with the trailer and bring the parts. So very pumped. I'll tell you a bit more about it when it's here. Ew. Just waiting for a mate at the servo. Yeah, boy. Whose is that? Ew. Cheeky bit of Mickey D's as well. Really? That's a big rock, bro. I don't know if you need that thrown. Well, thanks to Alstonville Trailer Hire once again. We have the gearbox for the Patrol, very exciting. Plus a box full of goodies, which we'll go through when we're back at the shed. Absolutely pumped, this is sick. So that's it, time to hit the road and bring her back home. That's everything now. Engine, box, loom, ECU. We're ticking them off the list, mate. Time to get that 3 litre out and get this bad girl in. Absolutely pumped, this is sick. Get into that later. The haul. This was an amazing find, like I said yesterday when I went to pick it up. So I'll run you through what I got. Basically, let's start here. When I picked up the engine, obviously for those of you that haven't seen the video where I went and picked up the motor, go and check that out. That gives you a lot more information of what I've got. But basically I pulled this out of a car with a whole bunch of other stuff. There's some Patrol springs and stuff here as well. I basically got the engine bay wiring loom, fuse box, ECU, pedal, accelerator pedal, and that's pretty much about it. Now, I stumbled across this for sale online, 6L80E, which I've just had a good look at it and it seems in pretty good nick. I've obviously got to just double check and find out exactly what year model it came off and everything like that yet. So I might have that, or if not, throw it down in the comments. Maybe it's not even a 6L80E. But it's looking in pretty good shape. All the previous markings are kind of lined up on the split ring and bearing and stuff like that, and housing, which is pretty cool. So, but on top of that, I ended up getting a the gearbox center console cluster, which is awesome because I want to try and adapt this into the Patrol one and make it a really nice factory fit. I've seen a fair bit of that. I know it's a bit of work in it, but I'm keen to do it for just for the obviously having that really polished, finished look inside. I got another fuse box, which is awesome. Now I don't actually know what this is. I'm going to find out what it is, but like I say, this is the first time I've done an LS build. I've never had an LS apart, so I don't know all the parts just yet, but that's the fun in learning. So I got two of these. I got one when I picked up the motor, and I've just got another one now. I'm assuming it's some sort of communication module. Looks like one pin's bent there actually. We'll have to try and gently fix that up, or I don't know, lucky we got a spare one. So yeah, fuse box, that guy. I got another intake with fuel rails on it. Now this is a internal loom that has the pedal, where's that gone? Up there, has the accelerator pedal connection. It also has the OBD2 port. Now, when I got the loom, the engine loom, dog, come here. Freaking chasing rats. When I got this original loom, I didn't get any internal stuff. I cut the OBD2 port off, and I also cut the accelerator pedal off and just had 6 inches of cable because I could reattach them. So, but now I've got the full harness of that from inside the car, which is awesome. I've also got the whole bunch of battery cables, which I don't know if we'll use, but we might use somewhere. And then I also got another engine bay loom, a gearbox loom that heads from the gearbox, which is awesome because I didn't get that obviously with the other one. What else do we get? We've got another ECU, which is very cool. So a L98 auto ECU. So we got 2 of those now, which is going to be awesome to have one as a backup just in case we blow it up or do something. If not, if we're all running, then I've got some bits to sell and put back into the build. We got a brake assembly, another accelerator assembly unit, which once again, that's super cool to have a backup of one of them. And also I got a torque converter, another flywheel, which is very cool. So shed's getting a bit messy from all the trips I've done and bits and pieces. All the other Patrol stuff is currently sitting in boxes or little things like that. So next we're going to start looking at the Marks kits, which is going to be very cool. I've got to get some engine mounts. I've got to find a cross member for the gearbox, which I believe needs to be a 4.5 or 4.8 manual, 5-speed manual gearbox cross member. Will suit, but the 3-litre auto gearbox cross member that's in it at the moment is the wrong one, so I'm going to be getting rid of that and putting a different one. So we've still got a few bits and pieces, but big chunk of the motor section done. I want to say a massive thank you to all the guys that have subscribed lately and helping out this channel. Keen to hear from you guys if you know some of these parts I've spoken about, and you can just rattle off in the comments. That would be mint. But yeah, we'll just keep cruising along. So just a quick check-in while I was cleaning my bench ready to stack all the gear. I was about to give this a bit of a clean and a rub down. I know it's off an L98, but then look what I've stumbled across here in faint writing. Maloo. Can't really tell what this says or what it said. I'm assuming it would have been a year model, maybe. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I quickly grabbed the micrometers out because I thought, I wonder if the Maloo intake and throttle body have a different size kind of port than the standard one and the standard L98, I suppose. Well, not standard, just not out of a Maloo. The only thing I can really tell is it looks like they have the same connector. But this actual housing itself is quite square along the top and wide, whereas this one's kind of like starts to taper down, and it doesn't have like an extruding housing. But yeah, so some cool bit of research. It'll either be something really great or it won't be, but either way, that's cool that it's a Maloo one. So I'll take some of these. Well, what's that? Bosch 982. I haven't looked at any of this yet. So yeah, Bosch 982. So it's the same fuel rails. but maybe the head's slightly different. Maybe the injectors are slightly different. I don't know, but very cool. That means Maloo throttle body, which means this was probably out of a Maloo. So even if my pedal assembly doesn't talk to this throttle body, if that's better, then I've got a spare one there, and I can sell the standard one and sell the standard pedal. Oi, leave the rat alone. So yeah, we're gonna keep sorting this stuff, keep packing her up nicely, but very cool. That one says made in, where's this one go? Yeah, I can't quite see. Delco 5V, made in the USA. This is obviously got to go heaps quicker because it's made in Mexico. Delco as well, but anyway, very cool. Just a quick little update. So yeah, that's pretty much that. But that's where we're at. We're almost sitting at basically all the Commodore things that we need, which brings us where we're actually up to on the Patrol. So motor is still sitting there at the moment, but not for long. Basically, I want to start, maybe even this video, we'll have that out depending on what else I put in this video. But the aim of this video of episode 6 is finally pulling the 3 litre out of the Patrol, which is going to be another massive step forward. And as well as that, we're going to pull apart the gearbox. So just this afternoon, I thought what a great time to rip into the interior. I mean, I've pulled kind of like little bits of trim out. How good's this too? I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. It'll be clear enough. But mate, this car, have a look under there. It is like immaculately clean. This car has never been sunk. This car has definitely never been hard off-roading. All of these channels in here are free of dust and dirt, and normally they get clogged right up on the Patrols. But if you lift the carpet here, this thing is literally shiny new underneath. It's unbelievable. So very, very happy with this purchase as a kind of donor car or a base car. All these kind of interior bits in here, you know, are just in really great nick. No rust up in the gutters, or, I mean, not that I've looked in a long time, but mate, they're clear as. So very, very pumped about this as a base. But of course, to get the gearbox out, as we were talking about last video, we need to pull the center console out and this surround. So I'm going to pull both the seats out, probably some of the dash and stuff like that. Now this is the classic bubbly dash, but it's been carpeted over and looks pretty good. And at the moment, that's the very last of my concerns of whether I have carpet or bubbles at the moment. So got to get rid of this CB that's just kind of plugged into a cigarette lighter and remove all this. So I think that's where I'm going to start. Anyway, that's where we're at to. I think we might get into the inside of the car and start plugging away with a few things, start ripping a few things out. And then once the interior is out, we'll pretty much go for gold on the motor and the gearbox, drop them out, and then we can start cleaning up the rest of the engine bay, and getting very excited. So let's get into it. Cents. Awesome, so that's the center console out. Basically 2 here, 2 on the outer cover heading upwards, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 there, and that's pretty much the cluster out. So work on this shroud and the gear stick lever and stuff like that, clean all that up, and take this kind of little, I don't know, I suppose trans tunnel hatch or whatever you want to call it. We'll pull all that out so we can get access to the top of the gearbox. I mean, that's pretty much all the inside stuff done. We're going to do a bit of a cleanup in here, vacuum and give it a big once over. And I'm thinking soon, when I look at doing all the electrical cables down to the back for the fridge and lights and a whole bunch of other stuff. I always say a whole bunch of other stuff like that. But when I do the things that I'm going to do in the back end, I'm also going to dynamat or dynamat, I think it's called, all underneath here and up on the footwell of the front there, right the way to the back, and just so it's got an extra layer of deading, and possibly do the door skins later down the track, but for now definitely the underbody. But yeah, that's about it. There's a few more things we can take apart, so we'll get in and do that now, and then basically back outside of the car and onto the dropping that motor and gearbox. So very pumped. Let's go. Coming along nicely, so that's it pretty much. All we need to do inside for the moment, or for pulling the gearbox and the motor out, is we are set there, clean up all inside there. We'll give it a vacuum and stuff later, and I'm not going to do any of the wiring for a little bit yet because I want to really map that out and draw exactly what I want. But for now, motor and gearbox, we are good to go, so I reckon I'll get it out this weekend. We're going to have a hard crack anyway. I thought while the car is up on a crazy angle, I'm going to take the drive shaft off here and here. Obviously the front one's already off, but we need to take this end off. We're up here. So we're going to jump in, get a couple of things, get that sorted, and then there's a little linkage from our gear shifter. And then all this is going to come on out. Right, tail shaft is out. So I don't even know if I'll move on to the front one while I'm nicely under here. I might start pulling this this exhaust pipe apart, or trying to get it apart anyway. She should be pretty rusted up, but who knows, stuff surprised me in the past, so we'll start ripping that out. Maybe pull this sway bar off. Or maybe I'm getting too away from the motor, but we got to do this exhaust anyway because we got to take it off the back of the turbo. Cheers. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Alright, we're just going to clean up all this stuff, get all the tools out, and then up onto the engine bay. While I'm under here and the car's lifted up on the stands, I'm just going to undo this flange here so that when I do the back of the turbo, it can all come off. So we'll get that done. The tail shafts are undone. We might even crack a couple of these bottom bell housing bolts from the gearbox to the motor. and then jump up in the bay, rip the rest of the stuff for the motor, and we should have both of these out today. Pretty confident, so let's get into it. I have squirted these with WD-40 like everything else, so hopefully they come a bit easier than those last tail shaft bolts. They were a biatch. So I'm pretty sure that's everything I need to undo underneath. So I'll drop this side of the car down now, and then we will get into the rest of the stuff. Yeah, I'll drop this side down, spew in some more radiator fluid. All right, I'm gonna start ripping in. Alright team, this is where we are at. We have pretty much the top starter motor bolt to do, and then the two top gearbox bolts up the very top that you need to get access through from inside the cab. Everything else on the bell housing I've undone a whole bunch of different brackets and stuff like that. There still might be a few little things that I haven't found yet, but I'm pretty close to getting it all out, and I'm pretty sure I've got most of it. Once again, I've never done this before on a 3 litre or with an LS, so everything here is kind of me just making it up and learning, but having an absolute blast of a time doing it. When I do the two engine mounts now, that should be it. We can start kind of getting this crane in place, ready to lift it up and see what's going to be held on, and mate, just keep pumping, rip her out. So very, very excited. Yes. So if you come in this way, see down there, I'll highlight them on the screen, but basically you have two bolts up the top there, and then that should really free, once I've got those two undone, that should free up my, well, not free up, basically just be all of the bolts for the gearbox bell housing to the back of the motor. So we'll jump in there and get them done now, and then after that it's just the two engine mounts and start lifting her up. Give it a crack, I suppose. Yeah, buddy. We have a hole in the engine bay. She's out. Z30. It was a little bit more of a struggle than I thought, only because I was by myself and trying to line everything up. Gearbox is pretty much ready to drop as well. I just need to disconnect a few more cables from that. A few more plugs and different things, but it is just literally sitting there on two jack stands at the moment. So pretty much I'm going to clean up everything here motor stuff. This has been episode 6 of the Turbo LS Patrol build. We are slowly ticking things off the list and having an absolute blast doing it. This project just makes me so happy in my heart to be doing this, and all the things that I'm learning and the things that I'm stretching and pushing myself to do and achieve. I'm absolutely pumped. I'm wrapped. So thank you for everyone who's been following along. Thank you to all the new subscribers. If you want to keep following this build and a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm doing, catchphrase, a whole bunch of other stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, all the bell, all that jazz. But for now, that is episode 6. We have an engine out. If you're not following my Instagram or my Facebook, I do a few more updates with little things here and there. So if you want to see some more up-to-date action of where this is actually up to in real life, not YouTube time, which is a few weeks behind why I obviously edit and upload the videos and stuff, make sure you jump over to my Instagram. I'll link them down the bottom or do something. But yes, cheers, woo!